Jon-Peter Muehlberg. I work currently at Fresno Chaffee Zoo. I've been there for 4 years now, and at the moment currently hold the title of sous chef. It's one of the greatest places I can work. It's hella nostalgic for me since I grew up here in town, and I've gone to the zoo since I can remember. Mom taking me from back in the day. So able to give back in a spot where I have a lot of fond memories is one of the best experiences I can have. And it helps when you have a passion for what you do and you love what you do. So every day I go to work, I have a big smile on my face, and yeah.
So my name is Dwayne Hunter II, and I actually work at Fresno Chaffee Zoo. I've been at Fresno Chaffee Zoo probably for about 8 years, and my title is restaurant manager. I really love working there. It's a really great place. I always tell myself, and other people, that I work at a place where people love animals, and generally people who love animals are really great people to be around. So I really love the zoo. As you can tell, I've been there 8 years, so I hope I love it.
Best thing about food is giving back to people and watching smiles on their faces when they know they have something they're really enjoying, they're really digging, and to have that creative aspect to where I can develop menus and develop ideas for people who are used to hamburgers and hot dogs like we serve it in my venue, and also getting a little creative with chef specials and thinking outside of the box. I love to think outside of the box because with 4 kids of my own, I have 4 different palates I have to critique to, and better critics than children's palates. So I mean, that's the way I look at it.
Well, I say the best thing about food is probably eating it. But no, not just that. I love the instant gratification of cooking something for someone and them loving it.
I'm a barbecue fanatic, so my brother and me do a lot of smoked meats, and we get down with a lot of the barbecues. So I mean, tri-tip sandwiches, pulled pork, stewed chicken. After we leave it on the crock pot all day outside, and it just depends on what my mood is and what I'm really looking for that day.
My favorite, I love anything Asian, anything stir-fried, anything like that. So
Okay.
yeah, a lot of prep, but good. I'm also vegetarian. It's most chefs kind of frown on vegetarians, but I think it's a great way to be creative, to create, different meals without proteins.
A different palate.
Different palate, exactly. Exactly.
The most I hope they take away is how simple cooking really is. We put a lot of thought into overthinking our times when we're sitting in front of a meal, and how did you make this and what did it take to put it, when most times if you do the meal prep properly, it's one of the simplest things you can ever do in life. And people psych themselves out when it comes to cooking, so they don't give themselves that opportunity to really put in and find the love that there is and you can find for cooking.
Well, I hope that people can see that cooking is fun, and it doesn't have to be intimidating, and it's a great tool to use to gather, with your family. It's a great tool, for spending time together. It's a good fellowship, things like that.
Great point. Great point.
So we're basically seasoning everything with black pepper, seasoned salt, and paprika, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And we'll let that rest for about 5 minutes, just so the flavors can absorb into it. In the meantime, we'll be heating up our skillet with about a tablespoon of oil.
So you actually want to make sure that your pan is heated up, so when you put your chicken in, you can actually get some caramelization, and caramelization actually amounts to flavor. So as the water is melting, we're going to add 4 slices of American cheese to the water. And with that, as it dissolves, we'll add the rice as soon as it starts to become boiled.
Once that comes to a boil, you will then add the rice, cover it, and let it go for 5 minutes. Turn off. Pull it off of the heat at that point. Should be good to go. You'll also cook the chicken for about 4 to 5 minutes on each side. These are pretty thick breasts, so we'll go about 5 minutes.
And the water is at a boil now, so I'll be pouring in the rice.
For steaming of the vegetables, we can take just a normal piece of aluminum foil, fold it into a round. We can add our vegetables, which is just a basic mix of chopped carrots, cauliflower, and broccoli. And we'll let those go for about 5 minutes, I'd say. Just enough to get them heated through. You have a knife, sir, by chance? Thank you. And at the same time, rice pilaf in my family was a staple, I think, for every Sundays. So that was, the starches were the mains. Mashed potatoes, cheesy rice, a lot of vermicelli in my household. So, and that's good stuff. We'll turn that off and pull it off of the heat. Let the rice cook down for 5 minutes and all the water gets absorbed. Check your vegetables in the meantime, they're still solid.
So also growing up, I would use the sliced American cheese in my top ramen, which kind of added some extra little flavor. So just one little thing we would do when I was growing up.
For the vegetables, we'd want to get them heated through, and they're almost to a light simmer right now, which is perfect. And basically our simmer would be at this point where it's at. Chicken we can probably flip in about 2.5 minutes. In the meantime, it's always good. Keep the family going. Keep the family going. Keep the love going. You gotta stay communicating about what you're cooking. And this is the look we're going for right about here. We can do a solid flip on both of them at that point.
Beautiful.
And again, let it go for another 5 minutes. At this point, your vegetables are done. So you can pull those off. Rice is fluffing very well. We're absorbing all the water. When you're checking meats, if you do not have a thermometer, you can do the push test, as I call it. You want to check the well done. If it's firm and doesn't have much pushback, it's probably going to be well done. And when your food is almost done, you want to pull it off and not cut directly into the knife. You want to let it rest, as they say. All the moisture and all the liquids are going to go back into the meat. Cut directly into it right off the heat, it's just going to fall out and it's going to dry. For this meal, we'd want to cook any protein would be starting at a high heat. You want to bring your skillets to the sizzling point of where you're going to get, like you say, that caramelization. And after that, you would turn it all down to a medium. You want to cook it at a medium so it's at a point where it's not overburning, you're not taking it from caramelization to beyond Cajun and chewy. So we don't like, what do they say at teriyaki places, you're having, I can't remember the word, you're having jerky. And I don't want to have jerky for my proteins. As far as your rices, they're going to pretty much be as the box would say. You're going to start at a high heat, bring it to a boil, and then turn it down to either low and simmer if it's real rice, but like this, you take it directly off. And vegetables are gonna start again. You bring it to a boil, then you immediately turn it down to a simmer for at least 5 minutes, I'd say. It shouldn't take any longer than the same amount of time before the rice. And now that we have everything cooled down to that point, we can pull the chicken off and we can slice the chicken. The way we know when our minute rice is done is you look for all the water to be absorbed, and we're about a minute out on that. Once the chicken reaches about 158, I usually turn off the heat. What is called carryover cooking is once you've taken it off the heat, it's still rising internally with your temperature. So you want to make sure you don't overdo it and you don't want to have chewy chicken. Now that we have everything cooled down to that point, we can pull the chicken off. Presentation is all about your colors. So let's make sure we get a little bit of everything.
Yes, because everyone eats with their eyes before they actually taste your food.
Yes, sir. And lastly, trying to get it all in one shot. And setting. And right there you have seasoned chicken with cheesy rice and steamed vegetables. Hope you enjoy. Thank you very much. It's to die for, actually.